الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Lord of the world, we thank Him, we adore Him, we glorify His holy name for His mercy and blessing on us. We seek for His mercy and blessing on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His peace and blessing continue to be upon His household, His companions, and all the Muslims to the day of Qiyamah. Inshallah, we continue our class today about the lessons of the first 10 days of the Hijjah, as well as the day of Eid-ul-Adha. We started it yesterday, and inshallah we'll continue it today. So, and those two we'll be mentioning today actually related to Eid-ul-Adha. So, Eid-ul-Adha and the Hajj, so they are actually related. So, performing the rituals of Hajj is meant for the Hujjaj, those who actually go on pilgrimage in order to perform the rite of Hajj. For those of us who are unable to go on Hajj, so our own responsibility is that we should engage in the Eid al-Adha. So that is the replacement by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whoever is unable. And we're also going to gain a lot of reward. So provided we follow the Sunnah of Prophet and also we do it with good intention. So Eid al-Adha, especially slaughtering of the sacrificial animal on the day of Eid, so it's actually, it has valid basis in Islam. So, and the basis, we find basis for it in the Quran as well as in the Hadith. Like Allah mentioned Surah Al-Kawthar, Allah said, Inna a'tainaka kal-kawthar, fasalli li rabbika wanhar, inna shaniyaka huwal abtar. So this verse here is actually referring to sacrificing animal on the day of Eid. So the incident that happened to the Prophet Salah, that he lost one of his sons, it happened on the day of Eid, and one of the mushrikun mocked him that this kind of thing happened to him on the Eid. So Allah encouraged him and advised him that he should not actually be disturbed or be bothered by what happened, that he should slaughter his animals for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in other words, there's a basis for it. And Prophet himself sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he slaughter ram, he usually slaughter two ram on every day of Eid. He slaughter two ram, well-grown ram and healthy ram. And also, he did this for about 10 years. So, about 10 years. In other words, right from the time Prophet migrated from Makkah to Medina, so he has been slaughtering ram on every day of Eid or Hajj. So, and he did not leave this act until his death. So, and this is the reason why, and all the scholars of Islam, they all agree, though there's a little difference. Some say it is Sunnatul Muhakkada, while some say it is wajib for anybody who has ability to slaughter. If anybody has ability to slaughter ram, and he did not slaughter it, in fact, there's one hadith of Prophet I said, anybody whose Allah has blessed with the ability to slaughter, he refused to slaughter, should not approach our musalla, you should not approach our praying ground. In other words, it is an act that is emphasized, and some scholars, they said it is even compulsory by this verse of the Quran as well as the hadith of Prophet as well as his own practice. The Prophet never lived sacrificing the animal for all 10 years. So all this pointed to the fact that it is at least sunnatul mu'akkada, if not wajib. And anybody who is blessed with capability to do so and refuse to do so, Prophet says should not even approach our Eid. In other words, he has violated the fundamental principle in Islam. So all these are pointed to the fact that it is closer to be wajib in Islam. And this Udhiyah we are talking about, it has a great benefit, like Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Hajj. And one other thing is that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, he said, the best good acts we can do among these 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the greatest good acts or deed we can do is to slaughter a ram for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you do, you will be getting reward that will be equivalent to every hair that grow on that animal. Of course, you can't count it. So the number of hair all over the animals, so they will be equivalent to the reward you are going to get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these are pointing to the fact that It's a very great act of reward. So, and like we mentioned yesterday, slaughtering this ram, Allah does not have any benefit to derive from it. It is actually to symbolize and to mark the sacrifice of Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail. And like we mentioned, the lesson we are supposed to derive from there is actually what they did. In other words, they submitted to the will of Allah. That is the lesson. That is the greatest lesson. That is why Allah also mentioned that so that neither the meat nor the blood will reach Allah. Allah has nothing to do. Allah doesn't eat. Even the angel, they don't eat, let alone Allah. So Allah said what He needs from you is what? At-taqwa. In other words, your ability to emulate the sunnah that has been laid down by Prophet Ibrahim. So also Prophet Sallallahu in some of his hadiths, even the verse of the Quran, refer to this act as one of the sha'air of Allah. The sha'air actually refer to the symbols, signs of Allah, that it must necessarily be what? Be magnified. So like Allah mentioned in many verses that when they say something is what? Is a symbol of Allah or signs of Allah, you must necessarily magnify it. You must necessarily honor it. You must necessarily respect it. So in other words, sacrificing animal should not be done for any purpose and should not be done playfully or jokingly. And that will take us to those people that will take the ram, the same ram they want to use to sacrifice another. They will use two animals to be guarding one another, or to be playing game, or to be doing different kind of thing. All these are actually violating the basis of what? Of this great act of reward. So we see when period of festive period of Eid is coming like this, you see people buy a ram and they'll be using two rams to be what? To be guarding each other. So this is actually violating the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether they are harmed or not. So it is not the lesson we are supposed to learn from there, because this can actually violate the lesson. So because somebody who does that does not even understand the purpose and the lesson we are supposed to learn there, because he has taken it for joke. He has taken it for what? For play. Because what you are doing actually is playing. But Allah says it is what? It is a symbol of Allah. And you don't joke or you don't play with the symbol of Allah. So symbol of Allah must be honored, must be respected, must be magnified, must be placed very high. And that is, if that animal you are slaughtering is a symbol of Allah, it means anything related to animal must be respected. So, and that will also take us to the property and the characteristic of the animal we are supposed to use for this sacrifice. Of course, there are specified conditions for the animal to be slaughtered. One of them is that we can actually slaughter what do you call it? Camel. We can slaughter camel. We can slaughter cattle. We can slaughter goats or sheep. So all these are allowed. But they must attain certain age because they be what? They be valid for this purpose. So if it is a camel we want to slaughter, it must be at least 5 years old. In other words, it must have completed 5 years. It must have completed the 5th year and entering the what? The 6th year. So if it is cattle, whether cow or buffalo, whether male or female, the two of them are allowed. So they must be at least 2 years old. And in other words, they must have completed 2 years and entering the what? The 3rd year. So if it is a cattle, ram or sheep, so they must be at least 1 year. In other words, they must have completed 1 year and entering the what? The 2nd year. So if it is goat, it must be, some scholars say at least must be 1 year, just like this ram. So but some say even 6 months is also permissible. So at least it must be 6 months. So, and it must be entering the 7th month. And this is actually their age. Another important thing is that the animal must be healthy. It must be healthy. So it is encouraged that if you want to use ram or cattle, ram or sheep, that it must be white and with some mixture of black, especially in some of the parts like the leg. So this is the type of ram Prophet normally use when he want to slaughter ram on the day of Eid. And another important thing is that it must be healthy. It must not be a sick animal. It must not be an animal with what? With a faulty eye. But it must be an animal that is hair has been cut, or it has one fault or the other. So it must be healthy. It must not have any defect of whatsoever. And that takes us to the point we mentioned the other time, that when you use two animals to guard each other, so there are chances that their horn may break, or they may even have one injury or the other. And also what you are doing, if after we have sense, we are trying to make them to feel some pain, because they feel the pain. So when you hit something very hard, of course there will be pain. We are not expected to inflict pain on any, even if it is animal. So these are the days we are supposed to be getting reward. Now, when you do that, you are invariably what? Getting sin. So no matter, anytime you inflict pain on any living object, you are actually getting sin from them. So this will actually tell us that we should desist from this act. And when we see anybody that does that, we should mention that this act, Allah call it what? One of his sha'ahir, one of his symbol. And a symbol of Allah must be respected, must be honored, must be treated with all form of respect. And one of it is that you must not joke with it, you must not play with it, you must not take it for fun. It's not anything, there's no fun in it. There's no fun in Udhiyah. There's no fun in anything we do that day. Of course, we are expected on that day to show happiness, joy, and share happiness and joy, but not joking with the act itself or anything related to it. You know, there's a difference between being happy or joyful over a particular event and taking it for fun. Taking it for fun means you have violated is what? You have violated is the fact that it's a symbol of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So another thing is that an-nusuku should be lillah. It must be only for Allah. And that takes us to our what? To our intention. Allah told Prophet, Allah has instructed Prophet to mention in Surah Al-An'am, Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mayaya wa mamati lillahi. So anything that has to do with, in fact, the whole of your life should be for Allah. Everything about you should be for who? So if everything about you should be for Allah, your life, your death, your ibadah, even your nusuk. So the animal you want to slaughter, it must be for Allah. It must not be because that was the practice of my forefather, or that was the sunnah of my forefather. Did Allah say you should follow the sunnah of your forefather? Is there any place Allah say your sunnah of your father must be followed? Because the reason why some people do is that, in fact, some parents will say, we instruct their children that I have started this thing, it must not stop on you. So that is not a good instruction. The instruction is that you must follow the sunnah of who? Prophet of Salah. And that is exactly what the Anbiya, the Prophet, they instructed their children when they are about to die. Well, who are you going to worship after me? They say, Nabudu ilaka wa ilaha abaika. So we are going to be worshiping your Lord and the Lord of your words. That is the same instruction we are supposed to be giving our children. Not that I have started this, you should continue it. So in other words, you are programming their mind that they are following you, they are doing your sunnah, not the sunnah of Prophet. You may actually be doing it because it is sunnah of Prophet, but immediately your intention or your niyyah change, then it has changed the whole thing. Like we know there are two conditions for all our acts, all our deeds to be accepted. The first one is what? Al-Ikhlas. And the second is what? Al-Mutaba. It must be based on the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So another thing is that we should mention, like we mentioned yesterday, that these days from the first day up to the 13th day. So from the day of Eid to the third day, we call it Ayam Tashriq. So those days, they are days of Manafi and Dhikrullah. They are days of remembrance of Allah. We should engage more in remembrance of Allah and benefiting others than any other thing. And you know, some people they have planned or earmarked some of their events at the time of Eid. Some people they only look at the time of Eid for their carnival. If they say, when are you going to do your carnival? They say it is every Ilayah day. So this is the same time Allah said we should engage in more what? In more ibadah, in more dhikr. And when we say carnival, we all know what carnival is all about. It's about violation of the law of Allah. It's about what? Denigrating the what? The symbols and signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's about dehumanizing and what do you call it? Expressing the immorality. And people will make it to what? To coincide at the time of Eid. So this actually violates the fact that it is the day of what? Dhikr, the day we are supposed to be remembering Allah. And like we mentioned yesterday, there is a difference between dhikrullah and dhikr what? Bismillah. So remembering the name of Allah, and that is what we are expected to do more. So we soon come to the formula, because there are different formula. So we are supposed to be mentioning. So, and on the day of Eid, up to the third day, so we are supposed to be chanting the word Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Walillahil hamd. So on at the end of every salah, up to the third day, that is the 10th, the 12th, and the 13th day. So these are called the what? Ayyam Tashriq. So like we mentioned, it is the sunnah of Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wasalam. We also mentioned his case yesterday. It is very, very important that when we are approaching this period, we should learn. If you have not learned it before, it should be an opportunity for you to learn the story of Prophet Ibrahim. And if you have learned it before, it should be an opportunity for you to what? To revise it. If you revise it and you understand it, you will have different view and different understanding about what the end is all about. So for us, Eid is just about eating and drinking. For some, the Eid is about what? Wearing special clothes. For some, Eid about what? Visiting their relatives and friends. All these are not prohibited. They are encouraged. But your intention and the state of your mind should be to please Allah as a form of worship. Not because I want to impress, or I want to oppress, or I want to show off, or I want to prove to people that I can do. So the main and the major theme there is what? Total submission to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what the life of Ibrahim exemplified. From A to Z, he always submits his life to Allah. And another important thing about Ibrahim is that he hated shirk and kufr in the most in any way you can imagine. Prophet Ibrahim, at a very young age, in the town where he was born, they call it Dhul. That was in a place they call in the modern day Iraq. So then there is nobody that worship Allah or that know Allah, including his father at that time. And Allah guided him because of his intention. Allah see what is in his heart. Then Allah gave him his rushd. In other words, Allah gave him the guidance. And out of the guidance, Prophet Ibrahim, on his own, and when he see that it is only him, he destroyed all the idols. He solely destroyed all the idols, and he did not fear the consequence. And of course, there was a consequence. Can you imagine that thing? That let's imagine a city or a town, and everybody is worshiping what? Idols. And you see only you as the person that know Allah or Allah guide. And you did not hesitate to destroy the idols. Then when they attempted to kill him, to throw him to fire, he did not fear. Why didn't he fear? Because he knows Allah and he believed in Allah. In fact, when he was about to be cast into the fire, Jibreel, in company of some angels, they came to him. They said, "We are here to assist you." Did you know what Ibrahim said? He said, "Is this an instruction from Allah? Or you came on your own?" They said, "No." When Allah allow his angel to see all his servants. Whenever you are in danger and you pray to Allah, the angel will be competing among themselves that I want to be the one to come to your aid. So Jibreel said, "We only came to assist you." In a similar way, they came to assist Prophet Ibrahim the day he went to Taif and he was stoned. Jibreel also came with the angel of maintenance, and when the angel Michael was there. That how did you want these people to be destroyed? Prophet said, "No, I don't want them to be destroyed." Ibrahim asked him, he said, "If it is you, no, leave me with Allah. Allah is sufficient for me." And this is a reality. It's a harm that is real. It is not something that is imagined. When something is imagined, you may think it is something that will not happen. The fire, they prepare the fire for almost a month. They have to gather the tree. In fact, they have to imprison him for 10 years so that he will not escape. They lock him up for 10 good days. And those days, they were trying to gather fire. And in the history of that time, no fire has been made and it's as big as that. When the fire was completed, they have to think of the best way to throw him into fire. And Shaitan came and gave them insight how to do that. And Ibrahim still maintained his point. He did not waver, he did not shake, he did not have any fear. He did not have doubt that Allah will assist him. Wallahi, if you are with Allah, Allah will always assist you. If you put your trust in Allah, Allah will always be with you. And that is the sunnah of Allah. Allah says, وَمَا يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. So this is what Ibrahim said. When he was thrown into fire, the last thing that came out from his mouth is what? Hasbi Allahu. So when he said that, Allah said, Qulna ya naru kuni. So Allah gave direct instruction. You see, there are different ways Allah could have saved Ibrahim. There are different ways. Allah could have killed everybody in that town and show Ibrahim his power. Allah could have made Ibrahim to escape. Allah could have allowed rainfall to start to fall at that time and the fire will be quenched. There are many ways Allah could have saved Ibrahim. But Allah did not use any way. What did Allah do? Allah proved to Ibrahim and these people that the fire that that you think kill, it is not the fire that kill, it is me that kill. It is the property I give to fire to kill that make it to kill. Now today, I withdraw, I deactivate that ability of fire to kill. Do you know that when Allah said, Ibrahim, do you know the fire did not stop? The fire didn't stop. The only thing that happened is that the fire did not burn. But it is still, the flame was still, it is still burning. But it was cold and peaceful for Ibrahim. And that even surprised the king of that time and even everybody. He has to ask Ibrahim that, who is that your God you are talking about? He said, my Lord is the one that gives life and take life. He said, I can do the same thing. He said, how do you do it? He said, get me 2 prisoners. He killed one and he spared one. He said, can you see? I killed this and gave life to Ibrahim. And one other good quality Allah gave Ibrahim is ability to argue convincingly, ability to defeat. Nobody has ever debated with Ibrahim and winning. Like Allah mentioned in Surah Al-An'am. Allah said, وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا أَتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَىٰ نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ. So when he argued with them, he is always ahead of them. So when he observed that this is actually what? Foolishness. How can you get somebody Allah created and you kill one, spare one, and you tell me you give life and take life? Why don't you kill 2 of them? Let's even assume you kill and wake them up. So Ibrahim said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِ بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ فَأْتِ بِهَا فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. So he became confused, dumbfounded. He cannot continue the argument. So these are the lessons we are supposed to learn. Like we said, the end on all the rights we have in these days, they are directly linked or connected with Prophet Ibrahim. And why did Allah preserve those his acts? It's because of the selflessness and sacrificial attitude and also the ikhlas, tawheed, iman he has for Allah. He hates everything shirk. All the prophets of Allah, all of them without exception, they hate shirk, none of them. But Ibrahim exemplified them in an exemplary way. That is why it was preserved. He exemplified it by what? By bearing pain that comes with it. He was persecuted, yet he bare it. Look at the one we just talked about it. But that is just one of the instances when Ibrahim was what? Was persecuted for Allah's sake, and he was always ready. When Allah asked him to take Ismail and his mother from Arul-Karhan, from Palestine to Hijjah, to Mecca, he did not hesitate. The wife, after they reached there, the wife asked him, are you going to leave us here? Ibrahim did not answer. But a failure to answer was not out of wickedness, but out of what? Out of mercy. Then the wife who understands the husband that this is a righteous person, is a prophet of Allah, he could not have ignored me. He changed the question. He said, Allahu amaraka bihadha? Is this an instruction from Allah? He said, no. He said, Idam falan yudoyad. If this is a command of Allah, that you should leave us, me and my son, a woman by nature, they are weak, isn't it? When I say weak, I don't mean, what I mean is that they can easily be harmed, isn't it? And a small child who doesn't even talk. cannot help himself. So only 2 of them in a desert. No tree, no house, no water, no food, except a bag of dates and water. And this woman still have faith, still have tawhid and tawakkul in Allah. Idhan falan yudoyan. And did Allah let Adam? And that is the source of Zamzam today. That was the source of Sa'yu Baina Safa. That is the beginning. Before that, nobody has done it. In fact, during the time of Prophet Muhammad SAW, some of the Sahaba, they said no. What do you call it? Movement between Safa wal Marwa, they say it is one of the practices of the people of Jahiliyyah that they should not do it. Then Allah revealed it first. Inna Safa wal Marwa. Allah says it's part of His symbol. What make it to be one of the sha'air of Allah? It is because of the sacrifice. Because of the, you see, look at Hijjah was ready to bear whatever comes our way because of Allah. Then Allah makes our steps, effort. Allah make it to become what? To become example, model for everybody that is going to come after her. Look at Zemzem. There's no water that is at Zemzem. Look at how many centuries it has been existed. It has been existing, it's still there. Who was the source? Hajar and Ismail. And today, look at, and Prophet said, it cure any disease. Whatever you drink the water for, that is what it is. It's going to cure it. And what was the origin? These are the lessons. The way Allah made their life and even their footsteps to be miraculous and to be exemplary and to be preserved, Allah can be even yours to be the same. Because sometimes some people may say it's because they were prophet. No. Allah said He has sunnah. And Allah doesn't change, and His sunnah also doesn't what? Doesn't change. So Allah dealt with them the way He dealt with them because of what He saw in them. If anybody can also exhibit those qualities they exhibited, wallahi, Allah will have dealt with such person the same way. Because Allah said, I don't change my way. I don't change my law. I don't change the way I deal with people. So if you are in a particular situation you don't like, the problem must be from who? From you, not from Allah. So what we have said is, where we have gone is that in the story, and the life story of Prophet Ibrahim, there is a great lesson there for us to learn, and this is, in fact, we cannot exhaust it. If Hajar were to make to come back to life, and Ismail, and see how people gather, and people who are following their footsteps, can you imagine the type of happiness? Not only that, from that time up to the end of the day of the world, it's going to be continued. And they are going to have part of the reward of everybody that is doing that, because people are following their footsteps. What if Allah make your own footstep to be something people will be following to the end of the world? And wallahi, like you said, don't ever think it is not possible. It is only be impossible if you cannot do what they did. That is the only thing. And what did they do? Sincerity and readiness to what? To sacrifice. So when Allah wants to take something away from you, it is not because Allah wants to punish you, or Allah wants you to experience pain, or Allah wants you to pass through problems. No, Allah wants to test you. Are you ready to leave it for Allah? Are you ready to leave what is most important to you? Are you ready to leave it for Allah? Wallahi, that is what they have. If you sincerely can sacrifice anything for Allah, and it's from ikhlas, wallahi, your life is going to be exemplary. Your life is going to be a model. That is exactly what they did, and that is exactly what happened to you. Did you know that after Allah made the well of Zamzam to occur miraculously the way it happened? Some say it was Jibril that came and used his wing. Some say it was the feet of Ismail. Whatever the case, it happened miraculously, isn't it? So did you know that there was a time something happened in Yemen? You know, Hijjah, Arab, where you see today, they were not originally Arab. They are not originally Arab. They were Arabicized community. The original Arab, they are from the southern part of Arabian Peninsula, that is Yemen. So there is an incident that Allah mentioned in Surah Sabai. So here people are following the law of Allah, they were violating the law of Allah. Like Allah mentioned their story. So Allah blessed them with many good things, but Allah expected them to do shukru. But instead of shukru, fa'aradu. It was kufru they are doing to the name of Allah. Then Allah destroyed Farsanna alayhim saylal armi wa badalnahu bi jannatayn zawata ukulin something. So then they cannot enjoy their life again. In fact, not only that, flood destroyed their settlement. So they have to disperse in land. They have to look for how to survive. You see, when Allah makes you to settle in one place and you are living peacefully, Allah is expecting one thing from you. What is that? Shukr. وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا قَرْيَةً كَانَتْ مُطْمَئِنَّةً يَأْتِيهَا رِزْقُهَا. For what? Then what happened? That is a sunnah. That is one of the sunnah. So if you have a problem, like I said, wallahi, the problem is from you. If you have been terrorized by terrorists, wallahi, the problem is from you. If you have been terrorized by bandits, wallahi, the problem is from you. If you have been terrorized by kidnapper, wallahi, the problem is from you. Nothing can happen in the space of Allah without the knowledge and permission of Allah. Nobody can do anything except with the knowledge. وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها ويعلم ما في البر وما تسقط من ورقة. So what do you take Allah for? So it is not the security issue, it is your problem. If only you can solve the problem, everything will go back to its normal state. Like we have said, among the tribes that left Sabai then, that was in Yemen, was a tribe they called Jurhum. And these Jurhum, they are warriors. They were very powerful. They go to different places, they fight war, and they dominate. So they were searching for water, because what determined place of settlement then was sources of water. So if you, then they don't have the water system and the modern network of water that we have today, isn't it? But when they see natural source of water like river, like spring, people settle there, because that is one important thing about that. So they were looking, then they saw birds offering over a place. That was where Hajar and his son was. Then they sent some of their errand messenger to go and check what is happening there. They suspect that there is water there. And when they arrived there, they saw Hajar and who? So they went back and informed their leaders. And like we mentioned, these are what? Warriors. They came back. When they came back, do you know what they said? They said, we want to beg for your permission to stay with you, and the water will be yours. No, they did not even say water will be ours. They said, we want to beg for your permission to stay with you. The lesson there is that a woman and a small child, warriors, look at the way people are dealing with each other today. Do you think they will have to take permission? It's either they say, we have confiscated this water, we may allow you to live, or you can even live here, or they can even kill her and her son. Is that not possible? They have to beg her, and they have to wait for her permission. What could have made that to be possible? The tawakkul she has in them. Idan fala, then Allah proved himself to them. And they have to settle there, and he make a request for them. He said, no problem, I have allowed you. And do you know another thing? The Jurhum, they had problem, and they have to come there, and they have to settle there. It was also an answer to the prayer of Prophet Ibrahim. He said, وَجْعَلْ أَفْوِيدَةَ مِنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي. So the prayer. So Allah makes something that will make people to long for them. Allah give them something that people will need, and they will have to go to them to get it. And that was the water. Not only water, even their environment. And from there, Ismail learned Arabic language from them. And that is how they became Arab. And that is how that nation became a nation of Arab. But originally they were not Arab. Remember, they came from where? From Palestine. And they were not original Arabic. So this is where they learned Arab. Of course, it may be similar to Arabic, but it's not originally Arab like we said today. So, like we said, these are lessons we are supposed to learn from this life of this great personality. That, number one, most important in everything. Number one is what? Ikhlas. Number two is what? Readiness to leave everything about you for Allah's sake. Is it money? Is it time? Is it whatever you have? And especially what is most important to you. And that is even one of the conditions for your sadaqah to have more reward. Allah said, وَلَا تَيَمَّمُوا الْخَبِيثَ مِنْهُ تُنْفِقُونَ. You know, sometimes some people actually want to give sadaqah, but they can only give sadaqah of what they don't need, or what they have less attachment to. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا. So you know, in fact, there's another place. Allah said, وَآتَى الْمَالَ عَلَى what? So until when you spend what is most beloved to you, that if not for Allah's sake, you will not have released it. And that is one thing. When Prophet was talking about the only person whose reward can be equivalent to the reward of good deeds you are going to do in these days. We mentioned yesterday that what makes these days to be special are actually some of the historical events that happened. Adam and Ibrahim. Adam, that was the place Allah accepted his tawbah. That was the place Allah extracted his descendant from his loin. Like Allah mentioned Surah Al-A'raf. And Ibrahim, Allah made him to what? To populate that place. Allah made him to what? To exemplify the act of ibadat. A rite of Hajj. He rebuilt the Kaaba. Before then, Kaaba had been destroyed. Mind you, Kaaba has been there. In fact, the point of Kaaba has been there right from the time Allah created the heaven and earth. That spot, that foundation. But after the flood of Prophet Nuh, it was destroyed. Then when Ibrahim came, he have to what? He have to rebuild it. He and his Ibrahim. So the points where he stood, Allah has to make his feet, the prints, his footprints to remain there permanently. Why? Because Allah want to make it to be historical. So and that was the same place. Quran says, "Wattakhidhu min maqam Ibrahim." Look at the way Allah has preserved. Like we said, what made them to be special? What made them to deserve all these favors from Allah is because of two things. Number one, ikhlas. Number two, what? They were ready to sacrifice everything. Look at the way Ibrahim was ready to give Ismail for Allah's sake. At the point when he most needed it. If it will be you and I, Allah, I'm very, very hungry. I don't think I can release this money. Allah knows that I'm hungry. Oh, I need this thing. If you can give something you need most for Allah's sake, well, Allah does not actually want to take it away from you. Allah just wants to test you. And that is the greatest lesson we can learn from this story of these great people. So another important thing we are supposed to... Well, they say our time is up, but quickly before we stop is that on the day of Eid we are expected to exhibit some quality. One of them is that we should wake up early and we take our bath. That is the ritual bath we take in Islam, and also we should wear the best of our clothes. So if you can afford new one, if you cannot afford new one, don't cause problem for yourself or for somebody who you get money. You understand? You know, some people, that cloth they want to wear on that day is more important to them than even the Eid prayer. So some people will go and borrow money, or some people will place unnecessary burden on somebody to go and get that thing for them. No, it is taqwa. Walaki, yanali what? So it's the taqwa that matter, and it is the reward we are working for. We are not working for new clothes. Mind you, if you are able to afford, alhamdulillah. If you are not able, wallahi, that is not what matters most. Then, when you are going to Eid, you are expected to go to use different routes you take when you are going and when you are coming back. Like if you take a route, when you are coming back, you are expected to take different route. And also, if you are going to slaughter udhiyah, you are not expected to eat before you go to the Eid, and you are supposed to do it, to slaughter it by yourself, and also it should be the first thing you eat on that day after you have slaughtered it. So one of these brothers said anybody who slaughtered before the Eid, so he did not actually slaughter for the Eid, but it's just a sadaqah. So also is that on the day of Eid, there is no nafila, there is no adhan, there is no iqamah. So what we go to do there actually is also what? So you don't need to do another one. So when we finish, we are expected to listen to the khutbah. It's part of the reward. And when you finish, like say, you take another route, and when you come back, you are supposed to be engaging. Even when as you are going, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahil hamd. So then you'll be repeating this on every at the end of every prayer until the third day. Also, if you have meat to eat. If you don't have meat, you can visit your friend and enjoy the day, because it's a day you don't fast. You don't fast on that day, and you don't even if you have anything that bother you, don't allow anybody to see sadness in your mood or in your face. So you should, for Allah's sake, sacrifice that sadness, like I'm saying. So it's a day of happiness, a day of joy. Let people see smile on your face. Let people see that you are enjoying your life these days. That is what is expected from you. So, many other things that we may not be able to mention because of our time. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it possible for us to celebrate this end in the best manner that pleases Him, and to make us to witness more of it on the house of His, and to let us have the reward in full on the day of Qiyamah. Allah forgive our sin. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We ask Allah to reward our stars abundantly and preserve more upon goodness. We have learned a lot. We ask Allah to make it beneficial and useful to us and accept our ibadat. If there is any question.
Now, I have 2 questions. So the first one is that there are some these Fulani men that they are wearing all those livestock. So like ram or cow. So they used to cut their hairs to identify their own livestock. So this one also is still allowed to slaughter. Gaskiya, it is not allowed to slaughter any animal that have any blemish that is not complete the way Allah created. So even if it is part of the hair that is cut, it's not allowed to slaughter that kind of animal. And that their heart is not a new thing, it has always been there. In fact, Allah revealed a verse in Surah An-Nisa mentioning it. Allah said, وَمَا يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا إِنَاثًا إِن يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا إِنَاثًا وَإِن يَدْعُونَ إِلَّا شَيْطَانًا لَعَنَهُ اللَّهُ فَقَالَ لَأَتَّخِذَنَّ مِنْ عِبَادِكَ نَصِيبًا ولا أمرنهم ولا أمنيانهم ولا أمرنهم فلا يغيرون. So another specific thing he mentioned is that ولا يبتكون أذان الوقت. So that is exactly what they are doing. So it's not a new thing. It is something that has been there, that Allah won't refill a fast on it, so that they are going to be defacing or deforming the animal. They say they want to make them, to give them a sign. So you don't need to do that actually. So there are different ways you can give it a sign. So may Allah forgive, but it's not allowed actually to use that kind of animal. Now, the second one is that someone said, "Can you visit me in the DOP?" Something? Someone said, "Can you visit me in the DOP?" Can you visit me? Inshallah. May Allah make it easy. May Allah make it easy. Is that the only question? Wa alaikum salam. Amin. Is it going to be in group? Generally, or it's not supposed to be in group actually. It's supposed to be individually. So there's no
remind others. Maybe the person who did prayer.
Yeah, you can say it aloud, but not very loud, so that when people see, those who forget can remember. But not that you should be doing it in group. You can say it aloud so that people will hear it, and when they hear it, they will remember. Yes.
What about we are not going to slaughter? Can we eat before we go to the?
Well, there is one hadith, this hadith of Prophet that said, anybody who observe 10 fast for 10 days in the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, that was the reward. I forgot it. So, if you can't, the 10th day of Dhul Hijjah is the day of Eid for us. So on the day of Eid, we are not supposed to what? To fast. You don't fast. It's haram to fast on the day of Eid. So some scholars said the 10th fast is the one that when you did not eat before you go to Eid. You understand? So that your what do you call it? The fact that you did not eat before you go is counted as a fast. That you only eat after you come back from Eid. So it's not allowed. But for the Eid al-Fitr, you are actually expected to eat before you go. So the sunnah of Prophet Salah is that on the day of Eid, Prophet will eat some dates before he go for Eid on the day of Eid al-Fitr. So to symbolize that the month of, Eid al-Fitr, the month of Ramadan has been completed. So you're expected to eat, but for this one you're not expected to eat until after you come back. Now.
But can we take sahur?
You don't need to take sahur. You don't need to take sahur actually. So because it is not even up to an hour when you come back and take your meal.
But can we start eating immediately after the prayer?
Yes, you can start. You can start immediately after the prayer. So immediately, but if you have a ram to slaughter, you should allow them to finish the ram before you eat. And if you can even start from it, it's better. Now. So because of that, the Eid of Eid al-Adha is expected to be observed very early, unlike Eid al-Fitr that may be delayed a bit. You understand? So you see, when it is observed early, people can easily come back on time and take their meal or prepare whatever they want to do and slaughter any ram they want to slaughter. Now.
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين